Good day everyone, this is Alvin again from the Philippines and welcome to my review of the top 16 closed door interviews for the top 16 of Miss Universe 2022. Let's talk about it. Welcome. So all of the closed door interviews of the top 16 finalists of Miss Universe has officially been uploaded on the official YouTube page of Miss Universe, and I have watched all the interviews. I'm supposed to upload this days ago, but I was a little bit busy. But now here I am. I have already prepared everything that I wanted to say, and we will be ranking them. Again, this is just based on my personal preference, purely based on how they did during the interview. So let's go ahead and discuss and see if we have the same thoughts and probably if we share the same ranking as well. Now here are my top 16 in order based on their performance, based on my preference as well. Starting with my number 16, PERU. Alessia Rovegno. I like how composed she was when responding, and I also like that her confidence was over the roof, and I really believe that her confidence in delivering her responses really helped. I personally like when she talked about the diversity of beauty in her country. However, in terms of substance and depth of her response, I wish there was some more elaboration and depth into her answers, because I felt like you ask her, she'll give you an answer, and if I was one of the judges, I felt like I wanted to hear more. But then again, of course, she made it, so the judges loved it. But of course, it could be a case-to-case basis, so I would love to hear some more elaboration. Number 15 goes to Lao. Payengva Lor. Lao surprised me a lot. I did not expect her to speak so well and so fluently. I also loved her responses because it allows us to see different perspectives, but unlike other candidates in the list, I wish we were able to see her answer more questions because her responses were quite long. So she was only able to answer 3 questions, while other candidates get 5 questions, 7 questions, 8 questions, but her responses are too long. And if she were able, if that's that's her manner of responding to the questions, I'm not sure how she would handle if she made it in the top 5. So I'm not looking at it as a disadvantage. I just wish she was more time conscious in giving responses. My number 14 goes to Portugal. Telma Madeira. I appreciate how she openly shared herself to us through that interview, and the last question on the video was the perfect conclusion for everything that I've heard, and that is her being a transformational woman. It was the feeling of pure sincerity and honesty in her answer and delivery that made me love her and made me feel like she really deserved her spot in the top 16. My number 13 goes to Colombia. Maria Fernanda Aristizabal. I think some people would argue that her delivery is not flawless, and I do understand and get their point, but let us also understand that English is not her first language, but she was able to express herself very well and her thoughts as well. She was very realistic with her responses, and as what I always wanted to hear, I am glad that she is backing up her responses based on her experience. Some of her answers were a bit pageant cliche, but it was her honest and sincere delivery that made her responses very, very strong. My number 12 goes to Spain. Alicia Faubel. I have watched some of her interviews prior to arrival, and I have some expectations, but I felt like her performance in the close to interview was her best interview that I've watched. I love the message that she conveyed about being true to herself, and her answers were very consistent surrounding that idea The way she delivered her message also showed her persistence, her conviction, and you can see it in her that she really wanted to show her true self regardless of the outcome in the finals, and because of that she earned my respect. Number 11 goes to Haiti, Mideline Phelizor. I think the best thing about Haiti's placement is that it gives a message that you do not need to be an English speaker to get a placement. She used an interpreter all throughout the closed door interview, so I really hope that others who do not, the future candidates who cannot speak English, will not be disappointed or will not look down on themselves, because you have a chance. Haiti proved that. Even France Miss Universe 2016, Iris Mituna won Miss Universe. So I really hope that they do not see not speaking English as a disadvantage if they compete in the future. Her interview also made me wow. From being an orphan and now giving back to the orphans. And I think my favorite is when she said that she wanted to join Miss Universe to make her platform bigger. Perfect. I think that's exactly why pageants like Miss Universe exist. That's definitely, if I was one of the judges, that is an additional point for her. If it's just up to me. Very, very good way of using the Miss Universe as a platform. Really highlighting the purpose. Number 10 goes to Canada, Amelia Tu. I felt so bad for not looking and knowing Canada much deeper before making my final prediction, because her interview was outstanding. Her work towards sustainable fashion was amazing. And I love how she supported her responses with facts and statistics. I love that. Also, delivery-wise, she was very spontaneous and she seems authentic and honest with her responses. And because of that, no one has the right to question her placement in the top 16. It was so good. Number 9 goes to Australia. Monique Riley, her story was just incredible, and I love how she used her experience to empower other women as well. Another purpose of Miss Universe. So really, really good example to use in your interview. And I'm glad that she did that through self-defense. And hearing her experience alone will make you wow. Also, when she talked about being herself, and this is one thing about closed door interviews, because you can really get an idea whether the judges like the candidate or not. And if you can listen and observe the reaction of the judges as she responds to the question, you can already feel that they are already giving an assurance that they liked her and she could possibly make it. So to me, it was a solid performance from the start till the end. Number 8 goes to CURACAO, Gabriela dos Santos. I was completely surprised at how amazing she was during the interviews. She's got something in her that makes you want to listen to her speak. I love how she uses hand gestures as well, because it gives some more impact to her responses. She was also very articulate and very, very likable. It was a moment where after the whole interview, you can immediately say that she is a sure qualifier. Number 7 goes to Trinidad and Tobago. Tia Jane Ramey, she gave a remarkable performance. I loved her eloquence in responding to the questions, but most importantly, her honest and direct response in the questions were just so admirable. And I also love how she consistently maintained eye contact with all the judges when she responds, and not only on the judges who ask her. Very, very good gesture. Number 6, India. Divita Rai, her interview just made me realize how big of a threat she is if she could be able to pull a top 5 placement, or if she was able to make it the top 5 placement, because she could really pull a back-to-back, because it was incredibly good. I love how she responded to the question filled with convictions, yet very calm, and majority got very personal questions, which doesn't surprise me on why they were able to elaborate and answer beautifully. But on the first round, Divita was mainly asked about issues, in which she responded climate change, and then an additional follow-up question about her answer. And I think her responses to that issue were remarkable. And I was really, really impressed by how she handled herself on that interview. And again, as what they have said, the fact that she was able to handle those non-personal questions and giving a very, very smart answer was just incredible. And actually, before the finals, someone gave me a tip that Divita did very well in interviews. Well, I didn't listen to them, but after watching the closed door interview, I was truly impressed. Although I already know that Divita is a good speaker, but her responses on this closed door interview was just beyond incredible. Now my top 5, starting with my number 5, Dominican Republic. Andreina Martinez. There were so many highlights in her interview, and that alone speaks volume on how amazing her interview was. I love how she talked about the experiences that shaped her and something that brought her into that moment, because her story makes herself vulnerable and relatable. And I think that's something that we wanted to see in our Miss Universe. And that, to me, is one of the main reasons why she went all the way to the top 5. Of course, she performed very well in the swimsuit and the evening gown, but the closed door interviews is where you build and you make the judges remember you. This is where you made them feel that you are a Miss Universe. And that's why preliminary is very, very important. And I believe that her performance here really left a huge mark on the judges on why she deserves to go all the way in the finals. My number 4 goes to the United States. Arbony Gabriel. This is the first time that we've witnessed closed-door interviews of Miss Universe, and this definitely opened our eyes in how they ask questions. And for USA, I'm glad that they ask about the controversy she's in, because it allows us to it allows us and them to listen to their side. And it actually made me emotional when she said that the controversy has overshadowed her hard work. Overall, it was a great performance as expected, and I love how she articulated herself and presents them with pure honesty. Number 3 is Venezuela. Amanda Dudamel. Venezuela is a breath of fresh air in terms of eloquence, elegance, and personality, and the way she carried herself on that interview. I'm not sure if we're going to find another one that is as amazing as her, but I really hope we will. She handles herself very well. She was so good when it comes to her responses, and I'm glad that she showcased in that interview the different side of her, which tells us that there's so much more in her than what we see and what we think. My number 2 favorite for the closer interview is South Africa. Ndavi Nokeri. Her performance was just mind-blowing. Her interview is also one of the interviews that made me very happy watching it. South Africa really lived up to their signature, which is sending and showcasing the best speakers in the competition. And she just showed in that interview that she is a natural and intelligent speaker with, of course, so much charisma and a little bit of humor as well, which works very well for her. But my favorite closed-door interview for Miss Universe is Puerto Rico. Ashley Carino. I mean, she was so personable, so relatable, and so effortless. It was just so fun watching her interview because she has spoken some funny, amazing, and interesting thing in her responses, and it felt like it was a natural conversation rather than a pressure moment. I was watching behind the screen, but her interview made me felt like I have known Ashley for a long time, and that's the feeling that I wanted to feel in a contestant in an interview. She was very real and she was very honest, and her answers and her expressions were always on point. It was definitely a clear and an outstanding interview. And I know many of us knows the caliber of Ashley. That's why there are still some people who cannot get over why she did not make it in the top 3 even with that strong answer. But again, let's go back because the competition is already over. Closer interview, Puerto Rico is my favorite. So that's it. These are my ranking for all the top 16 candidates in their closed-door interview performance for Miss Universe 2022. And I am looking forward to know your thoughts as well about my ranking, whether you agree with them or not. And of course, who are your favorites in a closed door interview? So, don't forget to leave your comments below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and share the video as well. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe because you'll be seeing more of these videos in the future. For now, thank you very much and have a wonderful day from the Philippines.